This part of engineering mathematics for EE is the first topic of Module 2, which is Introductory Concepts of Laplace Transform. Let's proceed. By the end of the topic, the students should be able to first explain the fundamental purpose of mathematical transformations, specifically how converting a signal from a time domain into a complex frequency domain simplifies calculus-based differential equations into basic algebra. Second, define and manually compute the one-sided Laplace transform for elementary functions using the standard integral transformation or formulation, such as f of s is equal to the integral of f of t e raised to minus st with respect to t from 0 to infinity. Then apply key operational theorems such as linearity, time shifting, frequency shifting, and the derivative or integral properties to efficiently evaluate and manipulate transforms without relying on the direct integration. Let's proceed. All of us are already familiar with some operators that transform functions into functions. An outstanding example is that a differential equation operator M, which transforms each function of a large class, those possessing a derivative, into another function. If you try to remember that, during your differential equations course, there is this a differential equation operator M, and this M is our auxiliary variable. This is what we call the auxiliary variable. Okay? If you try to remember in your differential equations, let's say we have y double prime plus 3y prime plus 2y is equal to 0. The entire differential equation will be transformed to a variable what? Operator m, which is m squared. Following that, this comes from the second derivative, so you will have two powers of m, and then plus 3m, and then since y is a zero derivative, it becomes 2. Then after that, you can solve the equation with respect to approaching this one into an algebraic equation. Okay. Now, we have already found that the operator m is useful in the treatment of linear differential equations with constant coefficients. In this chapter, we study another transformation, which is a mapping of functions into functions, which played an increasingly important role in both pure and applied mathematics in the past few decades. The operator L, this one, the script L, okay, or since what I'm going to do is of course I'm using this one as an operator. The way I write it is this one, L. Okay, so you simply use this one or this one. It's the same, no? It's the cursive form of L. Okay? Is particularly effective in the study of initial value problems involving linear differential equations with constant coefficients. One class of transformations, which are called integral transform, may be defined as this one. So that one is an integral transform, T, from the word transform. Okay, T of ft is the integral of k of st, f of t dt, with respect to t, from negative infinity to positive infinity, is equal to f of s. This part, the k, okay, k of st is what we call the kernel of the transformation. Okay, which is, it depends on what we transform or the need of a particular variable to be transformed. Okay, I'll explain later on, because in electrical engineering, we need to transform time, the t in time, to s as the frequency. However, in the eyes of mathematics, no, t and s are not yet defined, are not yet identified which variable it comes from. Ngayon, um, it is the kernel of a transformation. The equation above associates with each f of t of the class of functions for which the above integral exists, a function f of s defined by the equation above. Generalizations and abstractions of the equation above, as well as the studies of special cases, or to be found in profusion in mathematical literature. You need to see it that there are different approaches when it comes to the transform. But of course, our focus is only with with respect to electrical engineering itself. Various particular choices of K of ST in the equation above have led to special transforms, each of which its own properties to make it useful in specific circumstances. Yes, that's what I'm telling you. Okay, that it depends on the context of the problem. Now, you're going to use the transforms kasi in control systems. Okay? In control systems, in transient analysis, uh, in understanding the stability of the system and power system. Okay? The transform defined by choosing K of ST is 0 when T is less than 0 and is negative ST as T is greater than 0. Okay? In which what? To which this chapter is devoted. Okay? Now I want you to understand this part. Um why do we choose this kind of kernel in the area of electrical engineering? It's because of this. Uh you need to see it like this. That what? That uh in the graph, let's say we have the graph here, no? Let's say we have the graph T and this is what? F of T. Okay? For simplicity, for me to state my point, I want to, let's say, give it the to give an example that f of t is 1. Okay? Now, what will happen here is that if that is equal to 1, you will have your constant function like that. Okay? But in the eyes of ano kasi no, in the eyes of mathematics, t is not yet uh t is 1, so f of t is 1. In the eyes of mathematics, the transform is not yet the variable t is not yet identified. In the context of electrical engineering, T will be defined after some time when you go to your circuits to when you go to your control systems. It is time. And therefore for us to see it, ang tawag ko dito, since we don't have negative time yan, no? We don't have negative time. So this part will not be what? This should be eliminated. So for that to happen, we're using a type of kernel which is what? At t is negative or less than 0, it will be 0. So therefore, when you integrate this one, when you integrate a particular function, do you remember that? It was the kernel times the function, di ba? Okay? Ang tendency is what? Since this is 0 all throughout. Even if this is 0, this will be 0 all throughout, even if you integrate it. Okay? And then we have e raised to negative st for t is greater than or equal to 0. Sir, why do we use this kind of kernel? It's because for so that let's say f of t is 1 ha. So it's still 1 but the transform for this part, teka, I'll change the color. The transform will be this for this part. Okay? And then after that, why do we use e raised to negative st for t is greater than or equal to 0? It's because of this part. If you try to remember in your differential equation, if you have a linear equation y prime plus p of xy is equal to q of x, okay? The integrating factor is e raised to the integral of p of x with respect to x. And this operator resembles the e raised to negative st. Okay? Wherein it's negative s there and negative st there will be the exponent of your e. And since the Laplace transform are always associated with linear differential equations, then we're using this approach as well. And 'di ba earlier I told you about the that that uh to apply the Laplace transform concept even if without using integrations. Yan, you can meaning we can apply those properties even without the differentiation and integration, yung mahaba, yung long method of that one. Okay? So, but first we have to understand that muna. Okay? So, let's go with this. Number 2, the definition of a Laplace transform. Let f of t be any function such that the integrations encountered may be legitimately performed on f of t. The Laplace transform of f of t, denoted by Laplace of f of t, is defined by this. We have here what? The integral of 0 to infinity of e of minus st f of t with respect to t. So, I want you to see it that the kernel became already the e raised to negative st. And since the Laplace transform negates the part wherein the time becomes negative, okay? It will start at 0 to infinity and not at negative infinity to positive infinity. However, the whole transform concept, the transform concept, it it covers all values from negative to positive infinity. Now, the integral above is a function of a parameter s, called that function f of s. And we may write it in this way, okay? So we can use capital F of s for the transform itself, okay? It is customary to refer to f of s as well as the symbol, the Laplace transform of f of t, as the transform or the Laplace transform of f of t. Okay? So let's go with this one. Yeah. This becomes the Laplace transform if we try to integrate the functions. We have here when we integrate k e raised to minus st with respect to t from 0 to infinity. Okay? You'll get this one, this answer, okay? If we try to integrate k e raised to minus st with respect to t from 0 to infinity, you'll get this answer, okay? And so on. We have the magic 7 from there. T raised to n, e raised to at, sine 80, cosine 80, sine hyperbolic 80, and cosine hyperbolic 80. Okay. So let's go with the sample problems. For this, find the Laplace transform of e raised to at. Since we're still in the process of defining it, then let's not use the formula first. Okay, let's just prove them one by one. Okay, the Laplace transform of e raised to at. From the definition we had earlier, we have here the integral from 0 to infinity of e raised to minus st, e raised to at with respect to t. Okay? I want you to see it that this kind of integral is what we call the improper integral. Okay? Improper integral such that what? Basically the way I define it, or for quick insight regarding it, there exists when there exists an undefined limit. Okay? So, why is that? Because undefined limits are not meant to be substituted, di ba? We use limit for that. Okay, we use limit operator for that. Okay, so from there, we have here what? It becomes the integral of e raised to negative of s minus a t with respect to t from 0 to infinity. Now, I know you already have finished your integral until your differential equations. But I think I need still to write this. Let u be negative of s minus a t. So the first derivative is negative of s minus a with respect to t, because the first derivative of t is what? And we'll get negative 1 over s minus a with respect to u as what? With respect to t. And that gives us what? That gives us um, negative 1 over s minus a times the integral of e to the u with respect to u. Okay? And then I will not, okay, so I will not write the limit at this point in time first. I'll write it after integration, okay? Kasi 'di ba, our rule for what? For integral is that you have um convert, I mean to change the value of the limits as well. But for this part, I will substitute the limit upon putting it back to its original variable. So the integral is e to the u, or it's e raised to negative of s minus a of t. And this is what, by the way, this is from 0 to infinity. And therefore, we have there negative 1 over s minus a. And let's take the limit of e raised to negative s minus a t, okay? As t approaches infinity, because we cannot, substitute the infinity. Minus what? Minus the limit of, sorry, since it's already 0 and it's valid to substitute, no? Minus e raised to negative of s minus a times 0. Okay? From there, since this one is 1, and how about this part? How about this part, no? O let's recall. Let's recall in calculus, no? The limit of k e raised to negative ax as x approaches infinity becomes this. We have this one, okay? And this will be our function there, correct? It crosses what? The value of k in the y-axis. And as x approaches infinity, we know that it goes closer to a value of 0. So therefore, this is what? 0. Okay? And so we have there, since you have 0 minus 1 there as negative 1, finally, we'll have there what? The Laplace transform of e raised to at as 1 divided by s minus a. Okay? That is where it comes from. Ayan. Okay? So that will be for number 1.